Hello everyone, today we will be solving one Leetcode question, two-sum. Given an array of integer nums and an integer target, return indices of the two numbers such that they add up to target. You may assume that each input would have exactly one solution, and you may not use the same element twice. You can return the answer in any order. Let's take a look at the example. Here we have the array nums and we have the number 2, 7, 11, 15 and the target is 9. So the goal here is to find any number in this array, any two number that can add up to the target number, which is 9. We can use 2 plus 7 and then these two numbers will add up to 9. So we can just return back their indices, which are 0 and 1. Let's take a look at another example. Here the target number is 6 and in the array we have 3, 2, 4. 2 plus 4 equal to 6. So we return back their indices, which are 1 and 2. How can we solve this problem? The simple solution is to use two for loop, that the first loop will keep track of the first number and the second loop will keep track of the second number. And then we loop through every single element until we find the pair that can add up to the target number. But this is not a good solution because the time complexity will be n squared. So how can we make it better? We can just use hashmap or object in JavaScript to store the element and their indices that we have explored while looping through the array. Let's take a look at this example. Here we have the target number 9 and in the array we have number 11, 15, 7 and 2. We can just initialize an empty object and while looping through the element in the array, we can store the element as a key and the index as the value. And here we can store number 11 as a key in the object and then the value is index. And we keep doing the same thing for every single element in the array. We also have to ask ourselves, what is another number that can add up with our number equal to the target number? So if we use the target number minus the number that we have discovered, and then we will know exactly the other pair that we are missing. In our case, we can just use the target number, which is 9 minus 11 equal to negative 2. If we use the number that we have discovered, 11 plus negative 2, it will be equal back to 9. But in our object, we don't have the negative 2, so we can just store the number first, the number 11 here first. Now, let's move to the next element. Here, we have number 15. So if we use the target number 9 minus 15, the answer is negative 6. And we know that if we have the element 15, we need the number negative 6 in order to add up together equal to target number 9. 15 plus negative 6 will be equal to 9. But here, in our object here, we don't have negative 6. So what we can do is just store the number that we have discovered, which is 15, and its index, which is 1. Now let's keep moving. We have the number 7. So the target number 9 minus 7 equal to 2. So we know that if we have the number 7, we need to add with the number 2 in order to equal to the target number, which is 9. Here in our object here, we don't have the number 2 yet. So we can just store the number that we discover, which is 7, and then the index, which is 2. Let's move to the last element. So here 9 minus 2 is 7, and we know that if we have the element 2, we need the number 7 in order to add these two numbers together equal to the target number, which is 9. And here in our object here, we already have number 7. And we also have stored the index. We can just return back their indices, which are 3 and 2. 3 here is the index of the element 2, and 2 here is the index of the element 7. Let's code out the solution. So first, I'm gonna initialize an object, an empty object here, and then I'm gonna use a for loop that loops from the first element until the last element in the array. So while looping, we will get the current number, and we will use our formula that's the target minus the current number, and then I will store the value in a variable called search num. The goal here is to look in our object here if we have this number or not. If we have, we can just return back their indices. If search num in object, if it is in the object, we can just return back their indices. Object search num and I. So the value will be the index, and I here also the index of the current element. Else, if we don't have the search num in the object, let me correct my typo. If we don't have the search num in the object here, we can just store whatever the number that we have discovered with the index. So the object here, and then we store the element which is the current number as a key, and there in the index as the value. That should be it. Let's see. So what is the time complexity in this implementation? The time complexity will be O of n, because we have to loop through the entire element in the array, and the space will be O of n, because we have to store the element in our object here. Hope you enjoyed it. See you next time.